and jam.
Oldie.
Old song, but a goodie, right?
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I played and sung that one. So, hey, you just
Welcome
do things
to the show.
improvisationally.
Yeah, we love it. All right, we're at episode 127. We thought this is a good time during our quarantine, lockdown, cocooning, Memorial Day, all that, for you to check out, to enrich yourselves. I know people have been binging on, movies and whatever else, and I know other people are learning how to do things, but we've done that before. Yeah. But now we're talking about enriching yourself, backfilling that history of music knowledge. So our topic today is top music-related documentaries. There are tons. You don't have to take notes. All the links are in the description, and we'll see if we can put together a playlist, if they'll let us on YouTube, of some of the ones that are available.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
And so these are in no particular order, and there are tons of them, so we're not going to spend a bunch of time talking about them, but there are just a few that we want to hip you to in a variety of, I guess, not just one musical form, but a variety, and then some of them are process videos and all that good stuff. So.
Yep. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so the top one, I'm going to put these two together. Top two are jazz and country music documentaries, and they're both by Ken Burns. The jazz one is in 2000. Country music was released 2019. Yeah. And, Ken Burns is quite extensive. Yeah. In documenting the history.
Yeah, he really is. And so, just kind of, because the jazz one, I think I probably watched about, 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
But it's a 10-part series.
Yeah.
Each part is probably about either an hour and a half to 2 hours long.
Yeah.
So I'll let you know, it is definitely a deep dive.
Yes.
It's probably more geared towards traditional jazz than anything else. Mm-hmm. Heavy on Louis Armstrong.
I was about to say, I found out Louis Armstrong is king of the world.
Yeah, Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington.
Yeah.
Definitely heavy on those guys. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily touch on, like, if you're a person that's into like jazz fusion and that type of thing, it doesn't really touch on that as much. Yeah. As much as it's more towards the traditional jazz that was done with acoustic instruments. Yeah. So that's kind of throwing that caveat out there. But other than that, it's just awesome.
Yeah. There's so many overlappings and layerings, and you can see how things evolve. Yeah. Good, thank you. Evolve from one incarnation to the next.
It really does. And it does handle that aspect, the electronic aspect of Miles Davis, when he did Bitches Brew and that kind of thing. So it bleeds into the fusion era, not heavy on it, but still a very, very comprehensive.
Yes. And that's the same thing with country music, and I can't remember. Good. I've only seen it once. Yeah. And I don't even know if I saw it completely faithfully through, but there was one person, I can't remember his name, he's the king of country music, and I didn't know that. So yeah, it's really worth it to check it out.
Yeah, and the country one I haven't watched as many times either. So and that's because it's relatively new.
It's new, 2019.
Whereas jazz has been around since 2000, and and so I've I don't know, 7 or 8 times. I really
we binge on it, like we used to binge on Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3 on the list is a fun one if you're a person who likes history, but you like comedy, you like the cartoon, Tales from the Tour Bus. If you've ever seen it, it's anecdotal tales from people who have been on tour with various people. Yeah. And it recounts certain instances and incidents, and it's really funny and cute.
Yeah, it really is. I really like the one that was on Rick James. That was just awesome. And, and they handled the whole thing with Rick James and Prince were on tour together. It was just awesome. So I think they got one on The Time, too. So, they also got them, too. So it was really good.
Yeah, it's fun and funny.
Yeah.
The other one, number 4, that inspires us a bunch is Searching for Sugarman. Yeah. That's a 2012 documentary film. Yeah. And it's about an artist who is from Detroit, who did a record in the 70s.
Right, yeah.
And whose vinyl record ended up in South Africa. Yeah. DJ started playing it. And 20, 30 years later?
Yeah, they kind of looked him up. Because I think the rumor was in South Africa was that he was dead.
Right.
And so, of course, that just elevated his
stature,
popularity there. And somebody just decided to kind of look him up and do some research, and they found him. And I think he was like working on rehabbing houses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Southwest
but he had
Detroit.
No idea.
Right. That this
the
was
level
going right.
of reverence that they have for his message and his music.
Right.
It just reverberated for what they were feeling all the way on the other side of the world. So
right. Yeah. So
it's just powerful. I guess that's just showing that the seeds.
Being the do-it-yourself rock star.
Oh yeah.
Just the fact that if you're putting stuff out there, that you just never know
where the seeds are going to take root,
right?
And where that's going to go, and
right.
who's going to inspire. We love it. Also, another one of those little-known, a documentary about a little-known band that has now reached this cult-like status is a documentary about a band called Death. I think that's the name of the documentary, and that's 2012 too. I see a lot of these are 2012, but and it's about a black punk rock group.
Right.
And where are they from?
I want to say Los Angeles, but it's been a while since I watched that. But again, it's sort of like when black folks doing rock and roll, everybody knows about Jimi Hendrix, Little Richard. We know about those people who kind of started off in rock and roll, but after that, there just hasn't been that many bands out there. You got Fishbone, you got Bad Brains, you got Living Color, 24/7 Spies, you got Skindred that's out there now.
Yeah.
I mean, but there aren't that many people who are flying that rock and roll flag, kind of exclusively like that. So when you find out about this punk band that, was doing stuff in the 70s, it just kind of really blows your mind. I mean, like, and the Busboys was another one from the 70s that, were kind of doing that kind of rock kind of stuff. But yeah, it's really interesting to kind of hear about that. And I think for them, one of their members has passed, but still, I think they were able to kind of pull a band together and start doing some stuff.
That started doing something. So the addendum to the documentary is you might want to look and see what one of the sons of the founding members of the band has gone on to actually play some shows in their name. And do their work. So so that was I like that. Planting those seeds. And to continue the black rock theme, which seems to be a theme right here, is Afropunk the movie. The Afropunk movement has grown into, oh my goodness, it's just amazing. They do festivals all over the world. And most people know it in some form or another, but this is the story about how it started and the founding, the founder of it. And now that I found about the story, he has since left and somebody has taken it over. But it has grown way beyond his initial tiny little, I want to get this done, I want to do this.
Right, yeah.
So.
But again, that's one of those things about planting the seed and, kind of watering it and letting it grow. And nature will have its course sometimes, it will find a way, and that's the good thing about it. So.
I love it with the Afropunk because if you do a search, you will see people with all their different outfits and they're colorful, and I think like Jada Pinkett and her rock band playing, But I mean, it's just one of those kind of things where kind of everybody from all over the world, kind of has on their corner on it, what they do, whether it's fashion, whether it's the food, whether it's the live shows, but
and come to think about that, Ice-T's punk band or rock band, metal band, what you want to call them, Body Count.
Oh yeah.
They have a new record out. There's a song called Carnivore. Check that out. It's rocking.
Okay.
It's tight. You need to check that out.
All right, next on our list, our number 7 music-related documentary is A Great Day in Harlem, and it is the documentary that shows all the people who were involved in that photograph. And if you've never seen that photograph, you really need to.
And who took the photograph?
Good question. But the documentary was released in 1994. And I know the picture was taken way back when, but
so it wasn't Vandersea?
No, it wasn't. It was. Oh my goodness, I can't remember.
Sorry.
But there are all these greats. You got the Billie Holiday and John Coltrane and Miles Davis.
From the whole jazz era.
Yes,
that Tim Burns covers in his jazz series. All of them. And
all on this one step in a brownstone in Harlem, and I think if you Google it too, you'll see the remaining people. There are only like 2 or 3 that are remaining from that big group. But it's just an amazing story. It's just a historical, touch point, that the fact that all these people could come together. And how momentous that was. So and it's been a while, but I love the poster, and so I love the picture. And then when we saw the documentary, it just backfilled all the information that I did not know. So we love that. And then one that we keep going back to, number 8, is the Woodstock documentary, which was released in 1970.
Oh yeah, Woodstock is always great. Then there's a new one too that's on Netflix.
Okay.
That may have come out 2019, something like that.
Okay.
And it kind of also works to tell the story.
Okay.
Of, more behind the scenes of how they organize it and stuff like that. That's really, really good. But
we love it, finding out about the farm and how the people were perceiving it and how everything went wrong, and but it was this great cultural moment, and
that people keep trying to rekindle when you came.
Right, that everything went wrong, so it really, you shouldn't want to redo the everything went wrong part, because people went bankrupt, and and the field was destroyed for the farmer and all that kind of stuff. But it created this great musical moment that, again, you can't buy that.
Yeah, you're right.
They tried buying it. They lost their shirt. The next one on the list is called Mavis, and it's a Mavis Staples documentary, and it just was inspirational to see, where she came from, with her family and her pops Staples, and how she kind of was the kernel of the group, and how she lives on today, and how
her voice just
amazing. I know,
just an unbelievable voice, and the thing that's really weird is that she always had it.
It's
like it was just always
from the time she was a young girl.
She had it,
and it's the same voice.
It's the same.
And the fact that she's still alive and kicking, she worked with Prince before he passed with an album that I guess never came out. And so now she's working with somebody else, but she's still touring.
Her and Ben Harper did the song, I think, called "Change Is Gonna Come" or something like that. It's really nice.
Okay.
It's really a nice one that her and Ben Harper did. So.
But it's inspirational because it's just the fact that she seems so hopeful in the documentary, and it seemed like she has no plans to slow down, and I love that. Retire from what? If you're enjoying what you're doing, why retire, right? The next one, number 10, is Hip Hop Evolution. It is a Netflix series, and it was released in 2016. And you turned me on to that one.
Yeah, it basically just chronicles the hip hop from its origins, just on through the years. And the guy who kind of does this thing, he goes to different places. Whether it's, seeing how Southern rap got started, how rapping on the West Coast got started,
I like that.
On the East Coast, the whole thing. So, I mean, it's very comprehensive as far as all the different styles of rap that he kind of really focuses on. So it's really, really a comprehensive series. And it's ongoing. It's on Netflix. I think there's probably about 3 seasons or something like that, but really, really really good. Really good. As far as really understanding the whole history of hip hop and how everything kind of ties together in some ways. So, and the different producers that were out there. I mean, sometimes you forget about like people like Manny Fresh, Master P, and it kind of just their whole sound that they had in the South, na 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 na,
the dirty sound, right?
So, it's great. I really enjoyed it. So.
So that's cool. And piggybacking actually on the band called Death Movie, and probably some of the others, the Black Godfather came out in 2019, which is a documentary on Clarence Avant.
Yeah, Clarence Avant. And I know for me, anytime I was reading stuff about people, his name would come up.
Yeah, even in one of the things that the deals we ended up signing, the guy who signed us was somehow connected with Clarence Avant.
Yeah, I mean, Clarence Avant, he's just one of these guys. He's a mover and shaker behind the scenes. Matter of fact, Sugarman was signed to his Sussex label. And he's actually interviewed in the Sugarman movie. He's like, the record didn't do anything. He believed in it, but the record just didn't do anything when it came out. But Clarence Avant is, again, he's tied to that. I mean, the careers of Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, just so many different people whose music you're hearing today. I think L.A. Reid, Babyface, all these guys, Clarence Avant had some piece to deal with, kind of putting them in position to do whatever they need to do. Yeah, I mean, he is. I mean, Quincy Jones. I mean, everybody has gone to Clarence Avant. And that's another. Quincy Jones there's a nice documentary about him. That's on Netflix. It's done by his daughter. That's really.
I'll add that to our list. So the Quincy Jontz documentary. There's just so many. Oh my goodness!
Awesome. But I can't even. That's that.
We're gonna go through a few more, but then I'm just gonna list some ones off the top of my head that I didn't add to the list.
But another good one.
Another good one that we watched before Neil Peart died and after he died was Rush Time Stand Still in 2019.
Yeah, really good.
And and it kind of goes into his psychology and some of the health issues he had and some of his interests.
Right. It was during when Rush, it was during their last tour. And why, they were shutting it down.
Yeah.
And, he was having trouble, I think, with his hands and stuff like that, and just how physical it is. I mean, if you're a person, and I've never seen Rush live, but, I know that for them, when they were live, they reproduced their songs exactly the way they were on the record. Yeah, if there was a riff that you heard on the record, you were gonna hear it live. Yeah. And Rush fans are intent and they listen for that, and that's hard.
Yeah, that's what really they were saying is that that last tour was so hard for him. He would get out there, give it all he had, and then for the next day or two be sore, but he didn't want to let anybody know, and he didn't drop a note, didn't drop a beat.
He was Neil Peart. And I know I'm saying his name wrong, but it's sort of like, he's like one of those drummer guys. There's like Billy Cobham, Neil Peart, there's Stuart Copeland, Lenny Wright, people, these guys are just, so, and mind you, drummers, I know I left out some great ones, okay, I'm just naming a few, okay?
Right.
Not saying that's the Mount Rushmore or anything like that, but you kind of get my point.
Yeah, and I loved it, and I'm not a drummer, and barely a Rush fan, I'm the plus one on the Rush, and again, I love a good story, and the documentary tells a good story, so that is reason to watch it. My next favorite is one we've seen over and over, is Imogen Heap, Everything in Between, the story of her making Ellipse. Yeah. And it goes into her, building a studio in her house, and, just all kinds of things, but it's about the process, how she's doing her vocal tracks, who she brought in, the marketing that went with it. I mean, it's just like the story from start to finish.
Yeah, it's really good.
And I always like to see what people's process is, so that one was just enjoyable.
And I think it was called together from a vlog that she was doing.
Yeah, right.
Of the daily process of making this album. And so it was really nice to see kind of the way that she works and how she pulls together her harmonies and stuff like that. It was really great.
And then how she took care of her body, because she realized like halfway through, well, once this is out, once the album is done, I'm going to have to tour. Right. And she's like, I am in no shape to tour. So part of that was, again, part of her process, her daily jogging, and then all the yoga and whatever else. So so it's nice to see the whole artist and not just the work they create, but who they are as they live. So that was really nice.
That was good.
The next one, number 14, and I put a 2 in 1, is Spike Lee's Michael Jackson documentaries, Bad 25, which was in 2012, and Journey from Motown to Off the Wall in 2016. Yeah. So
very good, because it's really telling how there was such skepticism about Michael's ability to have a successful solo record at that time, and then the issues with Quincy Jones.
I was about to say,
So it's really nice to kind of chronicle that part of it, and then on the back end of that is Bad is the album that followed Thriller, which was this mega success, and how Michael Jackson was like, hey, 100 million. Right, yeah. Was what I want to sell.
He was determined, right.
Again, like I say, he epitomizes commerciality.
Yeah, and work ethic.
That
work ethic seemed like, and that's what Quincy Jones was impressed with, but it also shows how they came together, and then the other documentary shows how their mindsets kind of split apart.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Because, Quincy Jones had one idea for what should follow up what they had been successful with.
Right.
And Michael Jackson had a different idea.
Completely different idea. Because one song that Quincy Jones just hated was Smooth Criminal.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
that was like Michael Jackson's jam.
Right. Oh, that's my jam too. So
right,
that's a problem. So, but to turn away Quincy Jones and say,
right.
you don't know what you're talking about, I'm going to keep moving.
Right, yeah.
That takes some balls.
But at the same token, Quincy Jones felt like it was lacking a song. And so he kind of said, hey, we need something else here. So the call went out to Shaida Garrett and Glenn Ballard, and what they come up with, Man in the Mirror.
Yeah, and that's
so that's that whole collaborative process. So
yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
All right, next on the list, going back to our not traditional jazz, but more traditional meets fusion, is Miles Davis' "Birth of the Cool," released in 2020.
Yeah.
And it really gives backfills how complicated he was. I guess a bittersweet character. You know you hate him in one part, but then you're cheering for him in some of the things that he's doing. So yeah, he was very complicated.
Yeah, Miles Davis epitomizes that thing of
the artist.
Having to find your voice.
Yeah,
you know, because he was, he was playing with guys like Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, and one thing he realized that, hey, I can't play as fast and all high like Dizzy played. He was always going to be not as good as he could be, trying to be a second
somebody
Dizzy
else. Right. Yeah.
And so he found his own voice that dealt with space, that dealt with just being melodic. And in that is the birth of the cool.
And then also style. I mean, the fact that, who was that? Betty Davis? Who did he get with?
Yeah.
And she,
Betty Davis,
looked in his closet and she's like, you need to get with it. And she hooked him up. But he always had style. He always was interested in portraying somebody who looked interesting and creative and he
always wanted to do that. And that's why he picked up young musicians. So you'll see him playing with a very young Herbie Hancock, very young Ron Carter, very young Wayne Shorter, and then a very young Marcus Miller.
Wow.
There's all these young cats that he would grab up. I'm playing with a very young Michael Henderson. All these guys have kind of gone through the Miles Davis milieu, and so when you start thinking about that, his influence on music goes even beyond just from making the music. Right. It's also the musicians that came through him that, learned from him.
And just that whole artistic, creative, I guess, spirit.
Yeah.
And I guess that, again, so you root for him, but then the way he treated his wives and all that stuff. But yeah, so it is worth a watch.
It is good.
Yeah, it's one of those, you have to keep returning to that one. The next on the list, number 16, is Chasing Trane, the John Coltrane documentary, Netflix 2017.
Yeah.
And just
another one too.
Yeah.
Trane also played with Miles Davis.
Yeah, he did.
So again, it's this influence that Miles has had. But I Love Supreme, Blue Train. You just go on and on with what John Coltrane did. Donna Lee was Charlie Parker, and later Jocko did that on his first record. But yeah, again, Trane. That's all I can say.
Yeah. And then finally on the list, but not finally in our hearts, because there's so many that we could have put on here, is I Call Him Morgan, the Lee Morgan story in 2016. And it is one of those like soap opera drama, moments from the jazz continuum that tells a story about the woman who ended up killing Lee Morgan. But how she had kind of saved him from himself early on and nurtured him, and then eventually it went badly. But just the whole, again, it's the ebb and flow, it's the good and the bad.
It's the good and the bad. Yeah, that's true.
That he was genius, but he had issues and so just that whole thing.
But a great documentary.
It is.
Because Lee Morgan was a trumpeter I didn't know that much about. So this really did a lot just for me to learn more about him. There are so many great people out there, that you don't know a lot about. But I mean, I know for us, you know, there are a couple of other documentaries. There's like, I think it's Stand in the Shadows of Motown.
Oh, yeah.
That tells the story of the great musicians who, you know, made those Motown records that we like so much. There's another one called The Wrecking Crew.
Oh yeah,
Really
I saw that
too.
one, but the list was getting so long.
Yeah,
Also the Amy Winehouse, because I didn't know her backstory. So
that's really a good one.
There's just so many.
There's one on Muscle Shoals that is awesome too. So, you know, tells the story of that. I think there's one that also
the Metallica, I forgot to add.
Yeah, Some Kind of Monster, Unbelievable. That's a great one too.
So as you can see, you can do a deep dive. So instead of for the quarantine, you know, some people are tired of just noodling off and just, you know, the cotton candy. Or some people are tired of learning things. I'm so sick of, you know, hey, you put the screw in the hole.
Yeah.
This is one of those kind of things that backfills your historical knowledge of the music and the art that we're creating. Or Basquiat, I know it's not music, but we could have put that one on the list. So what do you think? Do you have any documentaries that we need to add to our list that we haven't seen?
Yeah, that's true.
Please drop it in the comments below.
Yeah.
Up next,
we got the Funk album coming out.
Sure,
that'll be coming out soon.
It'll be coming out soon.
And other than that,
just stay in touch. Stay tuned.
We'll see. You know, we could travel again and do other stuff and get out and meet people again. We'll see when that happens.
That'd be great. But in the meantime, while we're in quarantine, if you dig the vibe, be sure to
subscribe.
We're wishing you love, peace, and
chicken grease.
Mm-hmm.